How to survive 50 hours in a nuclear bunker. If there were a nuclear war on Earth, would you rather be stuck in an underground bunker or the International Space Station? Well, for now, let's focus on the underground nuclear bunker because ISS is not practically possible, at least for now. So what are the essentials you need? Let's find out. Air ventilation. You won't survive long underground without oxygen. Installing a reliable ventilation system in your bunker should be your priority. You'll need a system that will last for months and be able to withstand a storm or bomb going off. Calculate how many people will be down in the bunker and for approximately how long, then use that information to determine how much air you'll use. Water. Water is more essential for survival than food. Theoretically, a person can last 3 days without water and 3 weeks without food. Stocking your bunker with water is an area where many people come up short. There's no telling how long you might be stuck in your bunker, so it's important to have a large cache of water. Opt for jugs or bottles of water that have been treated to last longer than what you might normally find on a grocery store shelf. Remember to switch it out every few months to make sure you have the freshest possible water when trouble arrives. Food. Perishable goods have no place in a survival bunker. Instead, stock your shelves with canned foods, including fruits and vegetables, along with long-lasting snacks like MREs. Peanut butter, crackers, and canned tuna all have long shelf lives. First aid. Even down in a storm shelter, accidents can happen, so you'll want to be prepared. Small cuts can become infected, and there won't be a doctor around to help you treat them. Put together a first aid kit to keep down in your bunker that includes pain relievers, antibiotics, antiseptics, and plenty of bandages. Be sure to monitor your stash and switch out anything that is nearing its expiration date on a regular basis. Warm clothes. It is not warm underground. You'll need to stock some extra clothes to help you get through the cool nights unless you have a bunker built with some crazy insulation. Pack clothes that'll keep your temperature normal, like merino wool, along with jackets and thick socks. Fashion isn't really a concern here, so be sure to focus on function. Tools. Depending on how large your bunker is, you'll likely have items down there that could break with constant use. Beds, appliances, and lighting could all go haywire, and you'll need to have a way to fix them. While a toolbox might take up too much room, you can still keep a few key items handy, like a screwdriver and pliers, or you could simply have a multi-tool on hand to help out with repairs. Batteries. Batteries are going to be your lifeline if your electricity goes out, so stock up on them while you can. You will need them for flashlights so you can see, and for the battery-powered radio you should have on hand to keep track of what's happening up above. Important documents. Keep copies of all your important documents in a safe in your shelter. Photo identification, passports, birth certificates, and insurance forms are all must-haves to make life easier in the aftermath. If your house gets blown away in a tornado or another disaster, you'll want proof on hand that you're covered. You know, in 1961, John F. Kennedy's administration disseminated about 1.5 million signs around the United States, identifying the locations of nuclear bunkers where Americans might seek refuge if Russia chose to fire a missile. However, after the Cold War ended, the shelters were no longer maintained and the signs started to deteriorate. In December 2017, New York City Hall removed the remaining signs, not because the danger had vanished, but because the shelters no longer existed and the inappropriate placards may have done more damage than good. However, although this threat is no longer as fresh in the minds of Americans as it was half a century ago, the mounting tension between the United States and North Korea reminds us that nuclear arsenals are being maintained and available for prompt deployment. The false alert of a nuclear attack in Hawaii on January 13th, which caused fear owing to human error, might assist authorities to determine if residents' behaviors in the event of a true incident would match the suggested ones. And it seems that this isn't always the case. Although many individuals took cover in their homes following the Hawaii alarm, many more rushed to the streets. This conduct contradicts the advice for a nuclear strike provided on the Federal Emergency Management Agency's FEMA Ready.gov website, which recommends people to seek cover as soon as you can, below ground if practicable, and remain there until directed to do otherwise. So where to take refuge? The main concept is shelter, but where should it be located? Since the Cold War, the approach has evolved. For a long time, the notion of a nuclear bunker filled with everything needed to survive the apocalypse has been rendered obsolete, so specialized shelters are no longer assigned. The ideal, according to FEMA, is to seek refuge below, such as in a basement, garage, or subway tunnel. The farther from the surface and the thicker and more solid the ceilings and walls, the better. FEMA, on the other hand, cautions that even a blast shelter cannot survive a direct impact from a nuclear explosion. As a result, the advice is often aimed towards individuals who are not in the immediate vicinity of the explosion. The Nuke Map software, developed by nuclear weapons historian Alex Wellerstein, enabled users to simulate a nuclear explosion anywhere on the globe to see how far the consequences might spread. For example, a 150 kiloton bomb, the power range of the North Korean weapon tested in 2017, exploding in the air over lower Manhattan, would generate a 450-meter radius firestorm, a fatal amount of radiation in a 1-kilometer radius, and a damaging expansion wave of 3.74 kilometers. People within a 5-kilometer radius would suffer third-degree burns as a result of the heat radiation. More than 700,000 people are said to have died. What will be the radioactive fallout protection? For those fortunate enough to be outside the inevitable deadly rings, the major threat is radioactive fallout, which, in the event of a ground-level explosion, may be carried by air over large distances. People downwind of the explosion will certainly experience the heaviest fallout, while people upwind may not get any major fallout, says Timothy Jorgensen, head of the Georgetown University Medical Center's Radiation Protection Program. The following is Jorgensen's summary of the impacts of radioactive fallout. The biggest risk is being trapped outdoors as the fallout begins to settle. The fallout that settles on the skin or is inhaled into the lungs may inflict tissue burns as well as possibly substantial internal radiation doses. When confronted with this hazard, not just subterranean shelters may provide safety. Because time is of the essence, a structure may suffice in the absence of a basement. According to Jeff Schlegelmilch, Deputy Director of Columbia University's National Disaster Preparedness Center, NCDP, you should avoid windows. Generally, you want to be in the center of the building, on a higher level, but not too near the roof since there may be fallout resting on the top. And never seek sanctuary in a car. Many Hawaiians' impulse to take to the road would have exposed them to lethal levels of radiation in the case of an actual assault, since the structure of a vehicle provides no protection. Those who seek sanctuary in a structure are unlikely to have the supplies needed to live for many weeks. Fortunately, they shouldn't have to remain that long. We are looking at far shorter shelter-in-place timeframes for today's nuclear scenarios than we did during the Cold War, Schlegelmilch adds. According to the expert, after roughly 12 to 24 hours, it is often safer to depart than to remain in a shelter without supplies, since most of the radioactive particles will have fallen and decayed to less harmful levels by then. An emergency plan in each home. Despite all the above, experts insist that the response in the case of a nuclear attack must begin before an actual alert in the prevention of nuclear attack. FEMA recommends that in each household, an emergency plan should be designed in advance that includes options for evacuation, shelter, and communication. In addition, it is advisable to prepare emergency kits that contain at least food and water, 1 gallon or 3.8 liters per person per day, for at least 72 hours, along with toilet and first aid supplies, a radio, a mobile phone, a mask for dust, plastic sheets and tape to seal the enclosure, maps, a flashlight, batteries, and a whistle. To all this, other items will be added according to personal needs, such as medicine or baby milk. As a curiosity, FEMA advises that hair conditioner not be used, as it would act as a glue for radioactive particles. On the other hand, it is not advisable to include potassium iodide tablets in the kit, a product whose sales are on the rise with the new Cold War between the US and North Korea. Iodine pills are intended to block the absorption of radioactive iodine into the body. So, this was all about this video. I hope you liked the information given in the video. If you have anything on your mind, feel free to comment below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to get more videos like this. Also, hit the bell icon to get a notification of the latest updates on the channel. Thanks for watching.